Ooh, what a pretty little angel. Came right from heaven. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and this is my weekly vlog number 146 for Monday, December the 16th, 2019, and we're a whole 9 days away from Christmas Day. Yay, Christmas, bah, humbug, whatever. Okay, so I'm just having a little coffee. It's actually espresso because I didn't realize that my Nespresso machine was not filled up with enough water to make a cup. And so I only got half a cup, so it is now espresso. And that should keep me going for a while. So you saw in my teaser at the beginning one of my latest embroidery projects, and that's my little angel. And I'm really happy with the way this turned out. Here she is. Just get her up here a little bit. This took a long time to make. It took about 3 days. Okay, it's all done in pieces, and then you have to fit the pieces together and whatnot. It's a little complicated. It's not for the beginner, but I'm not a beginner anymore, I guess. And I think it turned out really nice. And you could put it on top of a tree, but what I do is I put a little LED light underneath it, and it all glows. And that's what you were seeing in the little teaser video at the beginning. So I think it turned out really nice. Now, I made this actually, I was intending to give it to my sister, but I like it so much I want to keep it for myself. So I don't know if I'm going to get a chance to make another one for her for this year, maybe next year. We'll see. And behind me you can see my Christmas quilt. Now I've had the flimsy, that's what they call it. That's what they call a quilt top that you haven't layered and quilted yet. And I've had the flimsy done for a while. But I finally got it layered and I finally quilted it, and I just quilted it on my domestic sewing machine. I didn't bother doing anything really fancy. In fact, I know it's difficult to see in the video, but all it is wavy lines, and I used a variegated thread that has reds, greens, and yellows in it, similar to the colors in the quilt. This was all made from scraps, all of it, and I just made it up as I went along. So each one of these panels in here that you can see are different. If you looked at it really close, you would see that even some of these smaller pieces are pieced together as well. And the back of this quilt, let me just get into a position to show it to you. Oops, I'm going to lose my microphone. I just pieced it together as well, just from strips. So the whole thing was pieced with scraps. And I think it turned out really nice. I especially like the border on this. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but this is sort of a glittery type of fabric. Now, I didn't do any kind of fancy binding on it. I did what they call a blanket binding, which basically means you layer it inside out, sew it up, and then turn it right sides out. And because this border is very narrow that went around here, it does look at first glance like it was an actual traditional binding for a quilt. So I think that turned out quite nice, actually. And I do love using up my scraps in this way as well. I find it very creative, and more like, instead of following a pattern, you just make it up as you go along. Sometimes that works out okay, sometimes it doesn't. Another thing I just started working on, and this is the first block, found this pattern at a quilt store, and it's called Doves of Hope. And I really liked the pattern on this. Tricky part about this was, I asked in the store, it said that you could do it with 12 fat quarters and some yardage. And I said to the lady in the store, does that mean I need 12 different colors of fabric? Like 12 different fat quarters? And she said yes. Well, as I'm putting this together, I realized, no, you don't. But I've already got everything cut up. So you'll notice that one of these things does not belong. And I've got my finger on it right here. You see this, the corner squares in here are all the same fabric except for this one. So I think I'm going to take that one, and hopefully I have more of this fabric in there, and I think I do. And I'm just going to replace it with one from this fabric just to keep it consistent, because everything else is pretty much consistent. Some of this fabric is a gradient fabric, as you can see in the squares near the center. But that's okay for there. So there's quite a few of these blocks to make. I wanted to make one full block though to see what it was going to look like, and now I can do things more on an assembly line basis because it's pretty much the same little sub blocks that go into each one of the main blocks. So that's going to look, I think, kind of sharp when I get it done. Okay, what else to show you? Okay, I do have my mystery quilt, or as I call it, the misery quilt, and the flimsy is done. The top of the quilt is done. It's a big quilt. It turned out really nice, given the fact that it was like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. So that one I am going to, in the new year, take it down to the long arm place, and I'm going to long arm quilt it. But I thought I'd show you what it looks like. First of all, I was going to hang it up behind me, but it's way too big to really see it. So I took a video of it, and I'm going to insert that right here so you can take a look. So this is what the finished mystery quilt looks like. It's not really quite finished yet. It still needs to be layered and it still needs to be quilted. But I also call this, I nicknamed it, as I do a lot of my quilts, the misery quilt, because there was an awful lot of half square triangles in this, and putting it together was a bit of a mystery. It was like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. But I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. I think it looks great, and it's going to look even better once it's quilted. So as I said, I'm really happy with how that one turned out. Now, that's the end of the classes for this session. That one was done in a class. But we start a new session after January the 11th. January the 11th is the open house when you sign up for your classes. And I'm really going to try to hold back this time. I have a lot of projects here that I need to finish, but I really love taking classes because I like the social element. Now, I know that one of the instructors is going to offer what's called a Lone Star quilt, and I've been dying to make one of those. And the reason I haven't is because there's something involved called Y seams, and everybody seems to shiver and quake and go crazy when you mention Y seams. So I asked the instructor, will there be Y seams in this? And she said yes. And I said good, because I want to learn how to do Y seams. I learned how to do curves, and I was afraid of those, and people seem to be afraid of curves, and I found out not so bad. So I figure Y seams are probably the same, but I think I need somebody there to actually show me. I mean, I could go on YouTube and find out how to do it and read some books about it, but it's better live, I think. So I'll definitely be taking that class. Now, I say I'm only going to take one, but who knows? There'll probably be a couple of other classes there that'll get me all excited, and I'll want to take those too. So, c'est la vie. So that's coming up. Okay, so YouTube channel of the week. I stumbled upon this one by accident. I'm not completely sure if this is one that I will go to on a regular basis, but I thought other people would be interested. It's called Jennifer the Maker, and she does a variety of different types of crafts. She focuses a fair amount on using her Cricut Maker, but she's got cake decorating ideas, she's got home decor ideas, she's got craft ideas, and her videos look pretty professional. So here, check this out. This week's YouTube channel is called Jennifer Maker, and I came across this one by accident. I've never seen it before, but I think it's been up for quite a while. And this individual does a variety of videos that are crafting related, and she shows some very unique things. What caught my attention to her was a video on how to engrave using your Cricut Maker onto cookie spatulas. Sounds a little weird, doesn't it? But she's got a lot of very unique DIY and crafting items on this site. So if you want something a little different, something a little bit quirky, then why not check out Jennifer Maker. So in the show notes below, you will find the link to Jennifer the Maker. You will also find a link to my blog, which I have not updated in a long time. Don't even know why I bring it up to you, because nobody goes to it anyways. And of course, our latest Stephen and Walter Live. And this week we sort of picked up on the conversation I had with you in my Pissed Off segment of my vlog last week, where I talked about the Salvation Army. And we talk about it in other charities as well, since this is Christmas time and the season of giving, and everybody wants your money. So I did a little bit of research online about the Salvation Army and the whole controversy with the Salvation Army and the LGBT community. And as you will hear in our discussion, I have mixed feelings now about which side of the argument I really stand on. But anyways, that was the discussion this week. So if you're interested and you didn't catch us live, then check the rebroadcast, the links below. And I also have the book of the week, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, listed in the show notes. So that takes us to what's pissing me off this week. Crowds. I think it pisses everybody off at this time of the year. Everywhere you go, doesn't matter what time of day you go, it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to be standing in line because everybody's doing the Christmas shopping rush. And this is the last full week before Christmas Day, and it's going to be a zoo out there. And I hate the crowds. Now, I don't buy a lot of Christmas gifts, as you know, so I don't have to worry about that. But I do have to go out and get what I need for Christmas dinner because, well, I thought this year we were going to go to my sister's for Christmas dinner, but plans changed because now she and her husband and kids are going to her sister-in-law's, and we're going over there on Christmas Eve, which will be nice. But that means that we're doing Christmas dinner again for Walter's side of the family. And at first we thought we were only going to have just his niece and his sister and her husband, but now his nephew and his nephew's wife and their two little girls are coming as well, which is great, which is fine. I'm glad that they are. As far as I'm concerned, the more the merrier. It just becomes a logistic thing as to whether we eat upstairs or downstairs. And, well, now I'm digressing from what's pissing me off, but I'm looking forward to that. But the whole point of me telling you that is because that means I do have to go out shopping this week, and I must prepare myself for the crowds and for the lines and everything else. And I hate crowds. I really do. I think everybody does. And there's no explanation for it. Well, yeah, there is an explanation for it. Why are there crowds? Because everybody's doing their Christmas shopping. It's panic, 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 panic. Some stores anticipate the crowds, as they should, because it's the busiest time of the year for them anyways, so they should know. And, you know, I like the ones that have the lineups that, you know, as soon as a cashier becomes available, you go to that one, rather than picking a line and hoping that the people ahead of you are going through faster. I like that kind of idea. The only thing that bugs the rear end off me is the fact that they have 6 cash registers and 1 cashier on at this time of the year. Really? Give me a break. I also hate the fact that people try to cut in on the line. Oh, I just needed to get this one thing. And off they go. And then they come back and take their spot again. Now, I know they've gone off to look for something. They were already standing there waiting. You know, should they be penalized because they forgot something and have to go to the back of the line? Maybe, maybe not, but it still irks me. Or then there's the people in the lineups who are saving a spot for their friend. Yeah, their friend's just over there just picking up a couple of things. She'll be quick. She'll be real quick. No. Or what's even worse in the lineups are people who are dragging their little kids with them. Mommy, I want this. Mommy, I want to go there. Mommy, I got to go to the bathroom. Mommy, I'm hungry. Mommy, 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 mommy. Shut up. You know, dragging kids out at this time of the year when you're going shopping is not a good idea. Now, okay, maybe you have trouble getting a babysitter or whatever, or you want to experience the whole thing as a family. I don't know. But it's really unfair to other shoppers. Especially, these kids are excited, okay? It's Christmas, right? Santa's coming. They're all excited and the whole bit. I get that. But some of these parents are just oblivious to the behavior of their children, too. And they're running up and down the aisles, and they're picking things out, and they're dropping them on the floor, clean up on aisle 3, and all kinds of stuff. And I mean, as I get older, I thought as you got older, you're supposed to have a little bit more tolerance for things like this and look at the precious little things and go, oh, aren't they cute? Christmas, such a wonderful time for children. No. No. Call me the Grinch, okay? No. Kid, you get in my way, I'm running you over with a cart. I'm sorry. No. Worst case scenario, I'm going to tell you there's no Santa Claus. Yeah, I am a Grinch. Well, these are things that go on in my imagination. I never really do that. because I'd get into trouble if I did, I'm sure. But I do have a wicked imagination about these things. I should make a movie. Yeah. Would make The Grinch Stole Christmas look like a minor compared to what I could have. But anyways, it's the crowds. And really, it takes the fun out of the season, doesn't it? I mean, you go into a store, everything's decorated nice, you see all the glitter and the bling, and they're playing Christmas carols in the background, and the store staff are dressed up in festive colors, and everybody's smiling and it's happy. No, they are not. You take a look at the faces of those people shopping. They don't want to be there either. The staff are overworked. Hours have been extended for them because it's the Christmas season. Nobody's happy. Nobody's really happy. You show me someone who's walking around, standing in those lines, enjoying the whole experience, and I'll show you somebody who's half snapped. They've been drinking before they went out. Okay? It's as simple as that. I don't get any joy out of it at all. But we have to do it, I guess. And then other people say, and smugly, oh, I got all my Christmas shopping done in March. Bully for you. And I try to do things in advance, but there's always something you have to get near the last minute. Always something you forgot. And it's not just the department stores that are busy like this. It's the food stores as well, your grocery stores. Everybody's grabbing everything off the shelves. And again, they have 2 checkouts open at prime time. Yeah, really? No. And then, of course, when you're standing there, and this can happen any time of the year, but it's really annoying at Christmas, you've got the price matching people. They've got out their flyers, or they've got the flyer on their cell phone, and I got that head of lettuce, and if I'd gone down to the store down the street, that head of lettuce is on for $1.49. You're selling it for $1.50. I want it for $1.49. I've got it here. So the poor cashier, he has to go through and price match it and the whole bit. And then you get the ones who get in there and they don't have a price. Could somebody come to check out number 3, please? Need a price check. Price check on 20 ounces of Heinz tomato sauce. Yeah. I think it's over on the far aisle near the spaghetti. Yeah, and there you stand, twiddling your thumbs. And then you got to get your Christmas liquor, right? So we have liquor stores in Canada, or in Ontario especially, the LCBO. And yeah, those lines are humongous. Now, we already went out and bought a couple of cases of wine. Just to buy a couple of cases of wine. It's not for Christmas, it's for us. Not sure what that says about us. And there was a lineup. That was last week. We did that. And it was a bit of a zoo. And it was the middle of the day in the middle of the week. A lot of retired people out there. Okay, I can tell you, buying their booze. I would like to say that I'm not going to have to make another trip to the liquor store until after Christmas. That's probably not true. Because what we bought is for our consumption. And I'll admit, it's cheap stuff. But it's good. But we'll probably need to go out and buy a couple of bottles of a little better stuff since we're going to be hosting Christmas dinner. So we'll need a little bit of that here. And we are going to my sister's, as I already mentioned, and we'll have to go and take, something nice there. So we're going to go back to the liquor store. So today, my plan is to avoid as many lineups this week as I can. I'm going to write up my list, everything that I need, and try to make it as efficient as I possibly can. I know I'm still going to be trapped in the crowds, though. It's just inevitable. And so 'tis the season. So it's one of the other things that I think makes Christmas miserable. Okay? And you always overspend. Because as you're standing there in those lineups waiting to pay for what you've bought, you always see something else that you think you should have. It's called impulse buying. The stores know that. They've got things set up near the cash register to tap into that. So you go, oh, yeah, I never thought of that. That would be something nice. Boom, you've got it. Longer you stand in the line, the more you buy. Simple as that. So what am I pissed off at? And I can't do anything about it, which pisses me off even more, are the crowds and the lineups at Christmas time. Okay, so let's move on and talk about, speaking of buying things, what I bought last week. Well, you know, everybody's into these happy planners and agendas and things like that. And I have to admit, I have a certain amount of attraction to those kind of things because I am a list maker and I do keep calendars and things like that. So I had a nice little agenda book that I bought last year at the Japanese store. It's got a misu or something. I can't remember what it was called. But it was really a nice little agenda. It served the purpose that I wanted it for. And it was only $6. So I thought I'd go back there this year and get another one. Yeah, good try. Nope. Could not get one of those again. Now, I could make one. And I have done this in the past. But you know, quite honestly, the ones I make take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and for something that basically at the end of the year I'm just going to toss in the garbage. I mean, I have saved some over the years, some of the fancier planners that I tried out, but why? You know, that's the past, this is the present, let's move on. So I went looking for an agenda. That was not going to cost me an arm and a leg. Well, I went to Michael's, and their happy planners and all of that. I had a coupon, and I saw one I liked, $24.99, a little pricey, but I had a 50% off coupon. So I thought for $12, no big deal. Yeah, no. It was one of their everyday values, which they stick on most of the stuff that you want at Michael's anymore, which means you can't use your coupon. And I was not paying $25 for an agenda. So off I went, and I went to Chapters or Indigo. They're the same place. They have two names, never figure out what to call it. They're a huge bookstore in Canada, in our area. So I went there. Yeah, they had every kind of designer thing that you wanted. I mean, as an aside here, if you ever watch Christopher Allen's Vlogmas, which I've mentioned before, he has a ton of planners. Louis Vuitton planners, things like that. Ones that I've looked up the price on. He has spent hundreds of dollars on planners. How many planners does one person need? And why do you need a designer one? I don't know, but if you got the money for it, what the heck, I guess. So anyways, I went looking in Chapters, and yeah, they ranged in price from about $22 up to $50, $60. And they're ridiculous. They've got your goals for the year page. They've got places to write down your physical health and your fitness, what you're eating, your diet, basically your life in one book. You know, if you were actually to use that and fill it up, like as they intend you to, that's all you do with your life is write in your agenda. You would never get anything done. So I found one. It was on sale for $17, and it will serve the purpose. And this is what I got. Now, I like the fact it has a coil binding on it, because then it'll lay flat when you open it up. It's got hard covers, which I like that as well. And it's marked off here with all the months, the indexes, which is great. And there's an overall calendar for the whole year for quickie reference. But what I really like, and this is the style I like, are the large boxes that are dated, because that's what I write in. I've actually created a set of stickers because I have things that repeat. Like, for example, every Monday I do my vlog. So rather than write it in, I have these stickers I just stick in. So at the end of one month, when I prepare for the next month, I can place all my stickers in for the stuff that's pretty much standard, stuff that I do every week at the same on the same day, and anything extra I can write in. So I like that, and I think there's even a section where it gives you for more extensive notes. I don't tend to use these kind of pages, but I might now that I have them in here. So for $17, I figured, okay, this will work. To me, now they said on the back here it was regularly $24. Okay, fine. I wouldn't pay $24 for it. $17 even was pushing a little bit. I would have loved one I could have got for $5, but that didn't seem to be in existence. So this is what I got. And as I said, I got it at Chapters, and I really don't care what's on the cover of them. As long as it's not loud neon pink. Okay, so this will do the purpose. And that's the only thing I've bought in the last week. So what's that take us to? Okay, that takes us to book reviews. So speaking of journals and albums, here we go. Called Crafting Beautiful Journals and Albums by Anna, what's her name? Morgan, Anna Morgan. How to personalize, embellish, and make diaries and scrapbooks. So you've seen other books like this because I have a few in my stash, but this one's very nice. It's very, it's on nice paper, glossy paper. It's got great illustrations in it. There's detailed instructions about different styles of journals and scrapbooks and things like that. It's just a very nice book to look at, but it's got a lot of great ideas as well. So if you are the kind of person that wants to make your own personalized agenda or journal for the next year, a book like this might be very helpful. Now, was it expensive? Yeah, probably. Yeah, Canadian $35.99. So I looked it up and I did find it on Amazon, amazon.ca, and you can get it for $11.57. But there is shipping, and the shipping is $3.99 Canadian. So in total, you're talking 4 and 12, about $16 for this book, which is about half the price that I paid for it. So at that price, I think it's worth it. So if you're into or want to get into making your own agendas or journals and things like that, this is the kind of book you might want to get for yourself. A little early Christmas present, maybe. Okay, so that takes us to the next installment of the iCraft shadow frames. And I have been struggling with these in terms of how I'm going to decorate them. So last week I showed you the assembly. This week I'm going to show you the treatment that I used on 2 of the frames. Thought I'd try something a little bit different. So in this step, I'm going to do something a little different for decorating the frame around the frame. And I've already done something here. This is the one I used the crackle paste on, and I've just gone over it with a Distress Oxide Walnut Stain ink. Just to bring out some of the crackles, and I don't know if you can see these on camera, but they are here. And it gives it a bit of a vintage look. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to now tackle this one. This is the one I put the texture paste on through a stencil, and you can see here that it's all raised in around here. And I'm just going to have some fun with color on this from my Delusion sprays. I've covered up my work surface here to protect it because these sprays go all over the place. Now, I have not used these in a long time, so I have no idea how they're going to spray. And I think they need a good shake up as well. So we'll shake them all up. And I grabbed 4 colors, and as I said, I don't know how this is going to turn out. So I'm going to start with, actually I should start with the lightest color. I'll start with this is Pure Sunshine. And just as I suspected, they are not going to spray. Okay, so Pure Sunshine is not going to work. This is what happens with these. Let's try the Calypso Teal. Well, that one's going to work. And then this is Pomegranate Seed. And it's going to work. And then this one is After Midnight, which is a bit of a purpley. And I'm going to see, this is what I mean about these. They're so messy. They always have been. So I'm going to grab a baby white, and I'm just going to do a little blotting. That's kind of pretty. I think I need to lighten it up a little bit. So here's another, this is Squeezed Orange. So let's see if this one will work. It does, but I don't know if I like the effect. So I'm just going to blot a little bit here. And, you know, I'm tempted to leave it just as it is, but I'm not sure. Now, I just noticed something. I'm wondering if there's a bit of a resist on these. Sort of. Okay, I think I should hit it with the heat gun and just dry this layer before I do anything more to it. So as it dries, that sheen that was on it before is disappearing. It's becoming more of a matte finish. And actually, there's a little bit of white from the texture paste and the gesso popping up through this. And I'm kind of liking that because it's kind of giving it a distressed look. And I kind of like the distressed look. But I'm thinking now, I wonder if I should take some of my rubs, if they're not all dried up, and go over it with those as well to highlight sort of the raised textured paste sections that I did through the stencil. Just another couple of seconds with the dryer. It almost has a plaster look to it right now. Okay, I think I'm pretty much dry. Alright, so I'm going to go and look for some rubs and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've grabbed a little pot of bronze artsy rub. It's a sort of a metallic rub, and this one's one of the few that I have left that have not dried up. And I tested it a little bit on the corner here, and I do like the effect that I'm getting. So I'm just going to put a little bit more on my finger and just rub it in around here. And it's just kind of adding a bit of a patina to this, and it's bringing out some of those little designs that were in the textured paste that went through the stencil. So I'm just going to take a baby wipe here and just kind of spread it out a little further. Kind of thinning it out a little bit. It is a messy stuff, as you can see. And I also used it on the other little frame off camera, and I just put it in along here, and it's you know, kind of bringing out some of the crackle paste that's on there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a dry cloth and I'm just going to buff it a little bit. Okay, so that just adds another layer of dimension to this, I think. And now, I don't know if I'm going to do anything else to it. This one I've got, the sides are kind of unfinished, but you want to know something? I kind of like them like that, and I think I might leave them like that. These ones I did do the sides on this, so that's okay. I'm just thinking, what else does it need? It almost, this one especially, could use a shadow effect, but I need something darker. And I'm just looking here in my stash to see what I can come up with. And yeah, I think I'll have to do a little hunt here, so I'll be back. So I got some Memento black ink. This is a permanent ink. I tried to use StazOn, but the StazOn pads are all dried up, which they dry up very quickly. So, you know, they're a great ink, but don't let them sit around for too long. And all I'm doing is I'm just lightly going over this just to dull it down a little bit. Again, it's kind of an antiquing here. Just to make it look kind of old. I'm just going around the edges to give them a little bit more definition. And I think I'll take this opportunity to just go around these edge pieces here. Okay, I think that might be enough of that. And I'm just going to take a baby white. And this is a permanent ink, but I'm just going to... Oh, it's supposed to be a permanent ink. That was not good. Ah, you know why? Because the dilutions underneath is not permanent. So, before I go and don't use the baby wipe, I think I can save this side if I dry it a little bit. That was a mistake. Don't do that. Now that side's a little lighter than the other side, and I don't like that, so I'm just going to go over it again with some of this Memento black ink. There we go. That's better. Okay, I'm liking that as a base. There's going to be other elements I'm going to put on this. I don't know what they are yet, but I'm wondering how this would look on this one too, because it's a bit shiny. So I'm just going to dull it down a little bit with the black ink. So I've got kind of a grunge effect happening here. Let's do the edges. This is a messy process. As you can tell, I'm getting it on my hands. So I've got this protective sheet of newsprint underneath me. And I'm not going to throw that sheet out, by the way. That could be the basis for another project. Okay, stop while I'm ahead. I'm going to leave these as they are now. So I've got the frames have a layer of embellishing on them, and in the next segment what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out exactly what I'm going to do with these frames. I'm debating whether I should mount one off to the side here or up here or something, leave them separate, whatever. This one's kind of bothering me a little bit because actually I don't really like it right at the moment, but maybe that'll change when I give it some more embellishing to it. So that'll be in the next segment. So next week I'm going to do the final embellishing of those frames, and right now I have no idea how I'm going to do that, what I'm going to do. I have a couple of bizarre ideas in the back of my mind, so you'll just have to tune in to see what I do with it. Okay, so events in the past week, update on my mother. She's fine. I got her a little memo board, a magnetic memo rented lips memo board to put on her wall so she could have her, you know, monthly calendar and other things on that. She probably won't stick anything on it. It'll probably be me sticking things on it for her because, you know, my mother doesn't really do anything for herself. My sister took over one of the a ceramic Christmas tree. My mother used to have one. I have it now. And when you saw my video last week about how I've decorated my house for Christmas, I did point that tree out. Well, my sister had one that belonged to my grandmother, and she decided to take it over to decorate my mother's room with it. I was a little bit against this because I thought, it's an accident waiting to happen because you got to plug it in and the whole bit, plus turning it on and off. And like I said, my mother doesn't do anything for herself. So I was afraid it might get broken. But nevertheless, my sister took it over, and my sister came up with an idea to make it easier for my mother, which I thought was brilliant. She actually found a remote control device that this tree is plugged into, and all my mother has to do is push the on button or the off button, and it's remote control, so she can keep it within close reach to herself. And I thought that works pretty good. And the tree is sort of out of harm's way, so it should be fine. My sister very carefully, put the cords where nothing can be, my mother won't run over them with her wheelchair or get herself caught in them or anything like that. So it does add a bit of a dimension to her room. My sister actually put it where the little planter that we got my mother for her birthday back in August, which is now dead. Why is it dead? Because my mother won't water it. Nope, that's effort too. And every time I go over, I water it, and it's just not getting enough water. Her room is very dry in there. And even though I said to my sister at the time when we talked about getting her a planter, I said get succulents because I figured succulents would stand up better. Well, my sister said no to that idea a little bit, but she was in the florist business, so she knows plants, so I deferred to her opinion. And yeah, they died. So my sister, I guess, removed the dead thing and put this Christmas tree up there instead. So then that brings us all to the conclusion, or to the idea of, now what do we get my mother for Christmas besides chocolate? Well, I did get her chocolate, but last time I was over there, I was thinking, if she had something that could hang off the arms of her wheelchair, that she could carry things like her little chapstick. We got her some chapstick because her lips are drying out, and possibly the remote control for the TV, so it's right there within her grasp. I thought, well, let me see if I can find something like that. Now, at first I thought about making something like that, and so I looked for patterns. But lo and behold, yeah, you can buy, they're called wheelchair arm caddies, and they're designed for exactly that, for wheelchairs. So I ordered one of these little suckers, and I'm going to throw that in the bag with Christmas gifts. Now, I'm not that pleased with its overall design because it basically looks like a fanny pack. It's got zippers on it, and she won't be able to manipulate zippers, so it'll have to stay open. And so I tried to design one based on that, and I did design one, but I'm not happy with the way that turned out. So I'm still thinking about designs for something like this that, forget the zippers, have something that's somewhat rigid, shallow enough that it'll hold a remote control, some little bits and pieces in that, and she doesn't have to worry about fiddling around with a zipper, and she can just slip her hand in, there it is, and take it out. I don't know. This is in my head, so I'm still working on that idea. But in the meantime, I got this other thing for her. I know what the reality is. The reality is she won't use it, because that's what happens with everything. You get my mother. But at least I got her something for Christmas. So moving on, I was at an all-day sewing class last Monday. It was the last one for the mystery quilt. And actually I started the Dove of Hope quilt that I showed you the block of earlier during that class, because I'd finished the top before I went to that class. And that was a good thing, because it is such a big quilt and there's not a lot of room in the classroom at Ultimate Sewing. So I figured maybe I'll finish it, take it, show it to the ladies, and work on something else that would be easier to work on in that environment. And that's what I did. And it was kind of fun. It was like going to a one-day sewing retreat in a way. We ordered in lunch and it was a good time. It was fun. So what else? Oh yeah, so my guild had their Christmas potluck dinner last Monday night, and I think I mentioned to you that I was I figured, yeah, that no one follows the plan. You know, the previous years they've said, you know, letters A to L bring savory, L to Z bring, or M to Z bring sweet. And I just knocked over my angel. She's fine. And people brought like boxes of chocolates, store-bought cookies in a bag, and some, you know, and there wasn't enough food and that kind of thing. So this year we decided to go with appetizers, finger food. The guild executive would provide a slab cake for dessert. So, and I figured, okay, who's going to bring the frozen stuff? Anticipating that we have time and a place to cook it, which we don't. And how much will be there? Some people always bring like half a dozen of something. Like there's like 60 to 70 people at this, and then they bring this. You know, really. I mean, you don't have to feed 60 people at once, but I mean, you usually bring a little bit more than a single serving. So anyways, I figured disaster. Well, no, I was pleasantly surprised. There was tons of food. Nobody brought a box of chocolates or some crappy old cookies. There was quite a variety of food, and there was some that was actually hot. They must have heated it up at home and had it in a thermal bag. There was food left over. There was plenty. I thought it was pretty impressive. And the whole evening was actually very nice. It was fun. So, surprise. When you expect the worst and the worst doesn't happen, yay, bonus. So, it was great. Okay, so what's coming up? Well, Thursday night, they have the annual Christmas event, concert, whatever, at the nursing home. And so my sister and her husband and possibly my niece, depending on what her hours are at work, and Walter and I will be there with my mother for that evening. We went last year, and it's nice. You know, they have some musical entertainment there, and they have like little hors d'oeuvre kind of things, little cakes and stuff like that, which is very nice. And so it's, you know, we'll go over to be with my mother that night for it. Christmas always gets me a little worried these days because Christmas was my mother's favorite time of the year. And, you know, Christmas isn't what it used to be. And with her being in the home and that, and we can't take her out on Christmas Day because, you know, we can't manage her with the wheelchair and toileting and all that kind of stuff. We go over and we visit with her and the whole bit. But it makes me feel a little, you know, bad that, you know, we can't do more for her at Christmas. On the other hand, she doesn't make it easy either. So there you go. I said to Walter, I'm anticipating that when we go over this week, now we'll be over twice this week. We'll go on our usual day, which is Tuesdays, and then we'll go over for this thing on Thursday night. I'm anticipating that she is going to start complaining about something. I wouldn't be surprised that we get over there at one point and she's in bed because she's saying she feels sick, because she does this. Yeah, Christmas emotionally has an effect on people. And for a lot of people, it's a depressing time of the year. And I could see that the way that could happen to my mother because she's in a nursing home. However, they certainly do try to, you know, make everybody feel like they're having a good time and everything at the nursing home. They do that there. So, you know, in some ways it's more entertaining than if she was with us. But anyways, we'll see how this all works out. Okay, and you know, it is what it is. I do what I can, and that's all you can do, right? So anyways, that's what's coming up. And oh yes, and on Saturday it is Walter's and my anniversary, and as of Saturday, December the 21st, we will have been together for 36 years. We've been legally married for come 2020 in July for 15 years. But we really don't mark our wedding anniversary. We mark our anniversary as to when we met. And that was 36 years ago. And so we've been together for 36 years. That's longer than some people's marriages. And we might talk a little bit about that on Stephen and Walter Live come this Sunday. I'm playing with an idea for Stephen and Walter Live, just as an aside here. And maybe just because it'll be the last Stephen and Walter Live before actual Christmas Day, I think we might do a house tour. Talk about Christmas decorations and things like that, and just, and maybe talk a little bit about the changes that we've gone through in 36 years of being together and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if people would be interested in that or not, but that's what I think we might do. So if you're interested, tune in on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for that. What are our plans for our anniversary? Well, right now, we've got gift certificates for the Keg, which in Canada, it's a chain here in Canada. We really like the Keg. It's a steakhouse kind of a place. It'll probably be busy because, it's the weekend before Christmas Day, and you can't make reservations. But, it's an event kind of a thing for us, so we'll probably go around 6 o'clock or something like that. And if we have to wait for a table sitting in the bar, that's all fine and dandy. In fact, I would like to do that because it's all part of the event. And the one thing I have against the Keg is if you don't make them aware of the fact that you're not in any rush, they will rush you through dinner. They have team serving, and that drives me nuts at times. So what we do is we have a plan of action for that, where we, order maybe an appetizer, but we don't put in our food order until we're finished the appetizer. And it just, makes the whole dining experience more of an event. I mean, after all, we'll be dropping a couple of $100 on this, and as such, I don't like to be in and out in 20 minutes. And believe me, that has happened. No, when you drop, this is not McDonald's, okay? So that's our plans for our anniversary. And do we give cards to each other? Nah, we don't bother with that. There's not a lot of anniversary cards out there that are suitable for people in our situation. I mean, to my wife, to my husband, and they're all mucky kind of thing. Maybe there's a business in there somewhere to design cards more appropriate for LGBTQ community people when they celebrate their anniversaries. I don't know. Think upon that. Maybe I can come up with something. Maybe. But anyways, that's what's coming up. And yeah, so I hope you have a really great week, and I hope you don't get too caught up in all the crowds and the last minute Christmas rush and whatnot. And hopefully we'll see you on Sunday for our live broadcast. And if not, we'll see you next Monday for the vlog. Have a great week. Bye-bye.